Welcome. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I bet some of you out there are saying, who is that up there on the bima?
Not me.
And where is Rabbi Alfie, who of course is always here on the bima? Well, I'm Denny Marshall, and I'm a rabbinical student, and I lead the Kavanah Shabbat Services on Saturday mornings, Shabbat mornings, once a month. And Rabbi Alfie called me a little over an hour ago and said that her body was exhausted from leading high holidays and needed a rest. And she assured me and made sure I told all of you, it's not COVID. Do not worry. She took a test and none of the symptoms are COVID. She's tired. Her body is tired. And I can understand after leading Yom Kippur services and having to make all those changes so quickly because our amazing cantor, Julie Steinberg, couldn't be here. So this evening, you have me and our wonderful Michael Hersher. Thank goodness. And I'm so glad to see those of you who are here and those of you who are at home just the day after Yom Kippur, already back in the shul, ready to move forward with the intentions of this new year. So let's take a moment and close our eyes and think back over the last 10 days, from Rosh Hashanah to Shabbat, Shabbat Shuvah, to Yom Kippur. And just take a moment to think about the journey that you took in that time and the blessings that you found in the services, in your own reflections. And as I said in the meditation that I did on Yom Kippur, be gentle with yourselves. Michael and I pray you're gentle with us this evening as well. And so we begin with our opening song.
Hine ma tov u'manai, shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine ma tov u'manai, shevet achim gam yachad.
How good it is to sit together. And whether it is in person or virtually, we are together. We are a community and a Jewish people. And now we welcome in the Sabbath bride. The Hasidim had a wonderful, wonderful tradition on Friday nights. They would dress all in white and go out into the fields and dance to welcome in the Sabbath bride. And so together we turn to page 138. Lecha Dodi, beloved, come to meet the bride. Beloved, come to greet Shabbat.
Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela la 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 Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Shamor v'zechor v'dipur echad Ishmianu el gam yuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem el tiferet veliti la 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 Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Likrat Shabbat lechuven elcha Ki hi mikor habracha Me'osh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshava Techi la 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 Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Hitoreri Kiva orech Kumi Uri Shir daberi Kavod Adonai ayalik Nigla la 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 Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala Gam v'simcha uv'tzola Toch gamunei am segula Boi chala la 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 Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela la 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 Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nikabela
Please be seated. We welcome in Shabbat with the lighting of the Shabbat candles. And we begin first on page 142 with Sholem Aleichem. Please join in behind your masks or at home.
Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimele, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Bihi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
These Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them. So may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruchuni Elom Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please rise for the Baruch Hu, which can be found on page 146. Please be seated. As we turn to page 148 for the Ma'ariv Aravim, we think about how in many centuries past, the night was a very scary time. Just like many of the times we're having now are scary to us and fearful. And so we have this wonderful prayer that asks God to protect us throughout the night and to shelter us under God's wings. And together, let's read on page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully open the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arrange the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Sevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. And we turn to page 150 for Ahavat Olam. The Shema is surrounded by love, by God's love for us, and then in our declaration of the Ve'ahavta, our love for God.
Ahava Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahalta Amcha Ahalta Torah tu mitzvot Chukim umishpati Otanu לימדת אותנו, לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם בלילה נגה יומם בלילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמי ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל אמן.
I invite you now to close your eyes and center in to your being. And when we call out the Shema, imagine yourself calling out to every Jew everywhere, and even to every person, as we are declaring, there is only one God, and everything is that God.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please join together on page 154 for the Ve'ahavta, our declaration of love to God.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות הידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Please turn to page 157 and join with me. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then we shall rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילו, אוסף אלה, נורא תהילו, אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Die 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 die
And we turn now to page 160. Before we begin the Hashkivenu, when we sang or read the Ma'ariv Aravim, I alluded to the fears and dangers that come in the night. And more than anything, it is this prayer, Hashkivenu, that we say every night to protect us from those evils that could come, whether they're in our dreams or our fears or perhaps real. So we ask God to keep us safe and to make a shelter over us in the shadow of God's wings.
Oh, guide my steps, help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Ufros Aleinu Sukkah Shlomecha. Ufros Elenu Sukkah Shlomecha. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps.
We turn to page 162, and for any of you B'nai Mitzvah students that are watching this from home with your families, you're practicing for your bat or bar mitzvah, please stand and join with us in the Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael HaShabbat Lasso et HaShabbat L'dorotam be'olam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael HaShabbat Lasso et HaShabbat L'dorotam be'olam Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael Odi le'olam Veshamru b'nei Yisrael HaShabbat Lasso et HaShabbat L'dorotam be'olam Ki sheshet yamin Asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabbat Lasso et hashabbat L'dorotam be'olam Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabbat Lasso et hashabbat L'dorotam be'olam.
We turn together to page 164 and rise for the Tefila. And this is also known as the Amidah, or the standing prayer. And it's a time, some of the words are here, we say together, but towards the end, the words are all yours. And it's your time to stand and open your heart to God.
Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Ve'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol, Ata Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Someh Nofni Verofe Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayeh Emunato, Vishenei Ahar, Mi Amocha על גבורו, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש בשמך הקדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהלוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please remain standing or be seated, as is your custom, for the silent prayers of your heart or the prayers on the page. (170) through 178.
Say shalom bimromal, say shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oh, say Shalom bimromal, say shalom alein ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimromal, say shalom Elenu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimromal, say shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
From our mouths to God's ears, let there be peace in the world and in our country and in our hearts. We turn now to those who are ill or suffering, those people we love, those people we know, and those people we just heard about or read about. And in our congregation, we wish a refuah shlema, a complete healing of body and soul, to Chaim Ben Moshe, Bob Harris, Michael Coatland, Luke Horada, Lisa Volman, Joan Setchit Davis, Kyla Allen Grant, Karen Broder, Howard Elegant, the Santaro family, Cynthia Lawrence, Wendy Fisher, Bob Wolf, Sarah Butler, Megan Thigeson, Anna Molander, Aaron Wolf, Ben Stewart, Judy Bresky, Karen Little, Alex Christie, Carol Kofnick, Marla Newton, Jose Ramirez, Julie Campos, David Van Oyen, Roz Benkel, Larry Jones, Jaden Evans, Brian Hesters, Jamie Sampson, Tara Strasser, Mary Miller, Margaret Gladstein, Noel Michelson, Karen Romer, Barbara Steinberg, Rachel Christie, Rachel Golden, Ainlish, Neil Mayer, Edith Mannard, Joyce Severson, Alexa Hanlon, and Avigal Bat Miriam. And if there are names of people that you are praying for, please feel free to say their names out loud if you are here in this room, out loud if you're at home, and also please write their names in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Rabbi Victor Gross, Rabbi Marcia Prager, Judah Rosen, Daryl Steinberg. And we wish them all refuah shlema as we sing the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak veYaakov. Mishaberach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, veRachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mishaberach Avotenu, Mishaberach Imotenu. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
So I would like to say that we have a wonderful tradition at this synagogue in this community. When we come to services and we see somebody's name on the healing list, that we are encouraged, and somebody that we know or we're acquainted with, we're encouraged to reach out to them. And I have to say that because of COVID, maybe some of you are like me, where your world just became so much smaller as you stayed indoors and you kept your bubble. And then maybe we forgot that wonderful tradition to reach out and just give a call to someone on that list that you know. And I'm so grateful to be here this evening to be reminded that I can do that. I can pick up the phone. I may not be able to go out and bring them anything or meet with them, but I can pick up the phone. And so I encourage all of you also to do the same. So the good news is you don't get a drosh from me because I think I had an hour to get here and didn't know I was doing this evening. The other good news is that Rabbi Alfie was going to do Ask the Rabbi tonight. So you're not missing one of her incredible drashes. And by the way, if you have missed any of them, go online. They're there. Read them or listen to them. But what the heck? I thought, okay, how about ask the not so, what's the word? The not so experienced rabbinical student, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, and if I can't answer them, I will just say I can't answer them, and thereby will be practicing anavah, or humility, which is one of the main midot in the Musar tradition. But if I have an answer, I will. So are there any questions? I'm going to start over here. I'll come to you, Blair. Yes. Ooh, that's a good one.
You repeat it?
I'm going to repeat it. What is the connection between meditation and Jewish prayer? That's a very good question because today so many forms of Judaism, from some of the Reform to Renewal to Reconstruction, and even some conservative, are doing meditation services or meditations as part of their service. And a lot of people have said, well, isn't that just, that's a Buddhist thing, and you just adopted that. But the truth is, at least among the Hasidism, and even way before that, there was the sages had something that they were supposed to do before they prayed. They were supposed to sit in silence and reflect and bring themselves to readiness to pray. And so when we do meditation in Judaism, it has a basis here in Judaism. Now, maybe if you're sitting and doing Vipassana or something like that, that's different, but to take time to bring yourself present and to really be ready to stand with Hashem, with God, it's there in our tradition. Thank you for that question. Blair.
I just wanted to know what your study process has been like.
Oh, well, thank you for asking. So about 3.5 years ago, I decided I wanted to become a rabbi. I had already done a number of things. I was already a Jewish meditation teacher, speaking of meditation, and Musar facilitator and a spiritual director. But I decided, why not? at my stage of life, you can tell from my COVID hair that I'm not in my 30s or 40s or 50s. And I thought, why not? If you're at any time in life, if you feel called to something, and that something is spiritual or artistic or musical, maybe you are being called to it and you can move forward. So I applied to what was at the time, this is ironic with COVID, the only online program through the Alliance for Jewish Renewal, or Aleph, and was accepted and began classes there. And we would meet up every summer and every winter for a week of intensive study, which of course we haven't been able to do. But now, all of the yeshivas are online. So if any of you out there say, hey, I really want to do this, I'm feeling drawn, I really want to study, it's all there for you. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful journey. And thank you for the question. And I think there was one more.
So you mentioned Hasidism earlier, and we do occasionally see Hasidic texts in our prayer book, but that strikes me as a very different tradition than Reform. So what can we gain from looking at Hasidism?
That's beautiful. And we don't always just see it in our prayer books. Often in the front of our service, our programs, when we come to services, there'll be a quote from like Rebbe Nachman or Breslau or one of the other Hasidic masters. And the Hasidism, prior to Hasidism, the Rabbinic Judaism was very much from the neck up. And granted, it was beautiful and still is intellectually and in wanting to take action in the world and fix things. But what was missing was a lot of heart and emotion. And when the Hasidism came along, they brought joy and they brought heart into the prayer. And what's so beautiful today, without letting go, it wasn't like, okay, we let go of trying to fix the world or study halakha, the law. It's just they added this whole element to it. And what's really beautiful about a lot of the traditions we see today is that that kind of heart-based Judaism is flowing into it. It's flowing in Reform for sure, and most of the other traditions as well. And if any of you have interest, I really encourage you to, read some of the Hasidic masters, some of the wonderful, wonderful stories. And that's another thing. They really taught a lot from what we call Agadah, from stories, from storytelling. So taking, real life situations, maybe stretching the truth a little bit to make their point, but in a way that the average person could really get it, what was being said. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. Any other questions anyone has? Well, I thank you for joining with me, and now I feel like, rabbis asked the rabbi, for her it didn't totally go to waste, and probably next week she'll come back and say, okay, now ask the real rabbi, which she should. So I think I have announcements. So, is there an oneg this evening? I don't think so. There is oneg following services in the courtyard. There is an oneg following services in the courtyard, September 17th. Tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., Torah study on Zoom with Laura Rosenthal. And by the way, if you haven't come to Torah study, it's a wonderful group of people and you really get challenged. That's the head up stuff. Great. Do it. That also is a good way to study Judaism. And looking ahead, If you would like to join us in person for any other Friday night Shabbat services, space is still available to register through September. Next week is Sukkot. CBI members are invited to reserve time in CBI Sukkah during the Sukkot festival. And if you visit the High Holy Days webpage, you'll get the details. But it's very COVID safe. You reserve for your pod, your family, or even just you if you want. And this Sunday, September 19th, B'nai Israel's high holiday tradition. Please don't miss this. Please bring your bag of canned goods and non-perishable food items for the Central Downtown Food Basket to the CBI parking lot. But listen, religious school families are welcome to bring donations at drop-off and pickup, and we ask, when they're picking up the kids and dropping them off, but we ask that non-religious households bring their donations from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. So it makes kind of, less people at one time. And then Thursday, September 23rd at 9 a.m., there's the American River Parkway cleanup. Please RSVP to Todd and Paula Mendel. And please visit the CBI website, the High Holy Days webpage, and the Chadashot for all of the latest details, full schedule, links, resources, and contact information. A reminder that we encourage you to complete the vaccine status form in preparation for attending in-person services and programs. And that's for all services and programs, whether you have to register for them, register to come or not. Go online and upload your vaccine confirmation. Great. We're going to move on with the Elenu. So please join in the Elenu. Please rise and join the Elenu on page 586 and 591.
Alenu l'shabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. So at this time, we remember those who have left us in this world, and we record with sorrow the passing of Vera Esther Hertz, the beloved aunt of Dorit Hertz and Tevin Laxer, and great aunt of Gabby Laxer. And we remember Craig Deutsch, the beloved son of Sandy Deutsch, and Merrick Edwin Shaw, the beloved uncle of Sean Rubenstein Ward and Jody Rubenstein Ward. And we also record with sorrow the passing of David Guarnacia Jr., the beloved father of Jenny Guarnacia Silver, father-in-law of Matt Silver, and grandfather of Julian Silver, and of Phyllis Pockras, the beloved mother of Radine Citronbon and her husband David, and Suzanne Dodge and her husband Warren, and the grandmother of Anne and Amanda Citronbon, and Megan and Helen Dodge. She was preceded in death by her husband Howard, Zikrona Livracha. And we record with sorrow the passing of Mervyn Fawn, the beloved brother of Claire Merksimer, the beloved husband of Yael, father of Tammy, father-in-law of Michael, father of David and father-in-law of Sandy, father of Karen and father-in-law of Mark, and grandfather of Sarah, Natalie, Orly, Ava, and Gabby. And may all their memories be a blessing. We also remember those that have died in years past, and this list shows how long we have been here as a synagogue and how many people that you have loved have passed in this time. Rose Allen, Herbert Anderman, Emily Beltzer, Lillian Beltzer, Bruce Benkel, Matthew Ben Salah, Annie Berman, John Burnett, Jack Brandeber, Pauline Setchik, Cautious Choate, Shirley Cohen, Wanda Kahn, Sachiko Diver, Dorothy Diardwash, Roberta Everest, Eitan Ezrahi, William Fertig, Wanda Fisher, Bertha Gordon, Jewel Grossberg, Bella Hyman, Eddie Hayblum, William Hubbs, Harry Katz, Jerome Katz Jr., Joseph Korer, Andy Kromis, Nathan Kurtz, Harry Landy, Maxine Levin, Domingo Luzano, Paul Milch, Margaret Moon, Isidore Molberg, Bertie Hazel Nathan, Joseph Newsombaum, Helen Ortega, Ann Orton Hacker, Caesar Rothholtz, Morris Rothholtz, Matt Samoville, Maurice Samovitz, Gabrielle Schwartz, Michael Silverman, Rod Sine, Abraham Solomon, Jerry Soskin, Ron Ulmer, Peter Wahoftig, Dina Wallach, Evelyn Wasserman, and William Will Zimmerman. And as my eyes meet yours, if you have someone to add to the Kaddish list, please say it out loud. And for those of you at home, please write their names in the chat. If you are saying Kaddish for someone this evening, please stand. And together as a community we say, Hamakom yinechem etchem b'tok shar avalei Zion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you among the mourners of Zion in Jerusalem. And I invite the entire community to stand in solidarity. And together we say, Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra hirutei v'yamlik malchutei, b'hayayihon uv'yomehon, uv'hayei dekol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mivarach ve'olam ulmei almaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalau shemei dekudisha brihu Le'ela minko birchata v'shirhata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim Elenu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Say shalom
bin Ramav, hu
Yaseh
yaseh
shalom
shalom,
aleinu
Elenu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. May their memories be a blessing. You may be seated. So Michael Hersher, dear Michael, he's so amazing, and he has just been here for us for this entire past 2 years. And they kind of let him sing whatever he wants for the closing song. So we're going to let him do that tonight too.
So I'm going to sing a song now that it's not particularly a Jewish song. It's not part of the service normally. But it's a song that's appropriate for this time of year because it's about baseball. It's actually not about baseball. It's about softball. And it pays some attention to women's sports, which there aren't very many songs about women's softball. And it also has a message that I think is a very good post Yom Kippur message, and that is that as you're traveling through the world, you just never know when you're going to need help and what kind of help you're going to need or who you might need to give help to. And sometimes it comes from where you don't expect it. Ellensburg, Washington, sun shone so bright, beautiful day for a game. Sarah Tukulski stepped up to the plate. She knew that she'd ne'er be the same. It was senior year, and in all her 4 seasons, she'd had no worse year than this one. Batting under 100, she knew at month's end her softball career would be done. So she looked at a strike, she looked at the sky. She thought how she'd misplayed the ball. She took a deep breath, swung for life and death, hit the next pitch right over the wall. Sarah Tukulski, she sprinted to first. She'd never once hit a home run. But halfway to second, her left knee gave out, and in an instant, her season was done. So she lay in the base path, writhing in pain. Dirt and tears stained her face. She knew that her run could not be recorded until she had touched every base. So she looked to her teammates, she looked to her coach, but the ump said the rules were quite clear. No one from Eastern was allowed to assist her from above. A strange voice said, "Here." Mallory Holtman played first base for Central. She reached out her hand to the ground. Those rules don't say nothing about your opponent. Get up and I'll get you around. With her teammate Liz Wallace, Mallory Holtman picked Sarah right up like a feather. They carried her around till she touched every base, and the 3 girls crossed home plate together. Sarah Tukulski, she got her home run, but she didn't do it alone. Sometimes help comes from where you least expect it and carries you all the way home.
Well, Michael, everybody do this out there. Michael, that alone was worth being here tonight. And that was a very spiritual song, and beautiful too. What else can I say except Shabbat Shalom, and Rabbi, we'll look forward to seeing you next week. But we are
Going to do the
Shabbat Shalom, but we are going to do the Kiddush. The Kiddush and the Motzi, which normally, we would all do together, surrounding. Baruch atah Adonai. Should we start?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu idashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim ul shalom ul rachamim.
L'chaim. Thank you, and shalom. I just have to share this. I have a almost 4-year-old granddaughter who is on the spectrum, and she is the most delightful little person in the entire world. And every Friday night we have her over for Shabbat, and I take a glass of wine, and my husband takes a glass of wine, and she holds his, and she holds mine, and she just listens intently as we say the Kiddush. And I know that it's getting in there. And that's a beautiful thing. So I just felt like I needed to share that with all of you. Please join me in the Motzi. Baruch atah
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.